Sri Lanka. The economic crisis just moments before the invasion, before the protesters invaded the president's residence. Forces opened fire on the protesters. Details of the protests that took place yesterday. This was just moments before the invasion because thousands of people were headed towards the forces that also opened fire on the protesters. That's the update now coming in. Thousands of people hit the streets in their rebellion against the current dispensation that also forced some resignations. So details coming in of what exactly happened in Sri Lanka. The video footage of security forces shooting just before the protesters entered the president's house has now been accessed. Police officials as well as the army had been called in. They could not control the crowd as the protesters hit the streets in anger against the current dispensation, after which now resignations have followed. But these are the visuals, dramatic visuals show how the protests had escalated within minutes. Thousands of people who were out on the streets. So as people gathered there, the forces were trying to stop them before they tried to enter, and they also opened fire to stop these protesters. But clearly even that did not help as the protesters continued the invasion of the president's house. So these are the dramatic visuals. This is right outside the president's house, just moments before the invasion as the forces tried to halt the protesters. Remember, the president is currently untraced. He's said to have fled the country before the massive protests. So the whereabouts of Gotabaya Rajapaksa are still unknown, and this after he fled from his official residence. This was ahead of the protests that took place yesterday. Dramatic visuals of the situation as it unfolded. Our reporter King Ratnam brings us a ground report of what's happening there.
So this morning, as you can see behind me, this is the old Parliament building adjoining the President's Secretariat facility, and that's been occupied now by the protesters, and they have now decided to move the makeshift library that was there at the Gotagama, which is the heart of the protest area. They have decided to move the library into these premises and secure it as long as it needs to be secured until the demands are met. And right from the start, this protest has been a very peaceful, very innocent, and also very creative. And I'm just going to show you one example of that. I'm just going to turn the camera here. As you can see, there is an old leader here, a parliamentarian, and they have all been masked, and that's the case with all the statues that are outside here. So this has definitely been a very creative protest right from the start, and that is why the violence violence behind the so-called protesters is very doubtful, and we and the people and the protesters doubt very much that there is a political force that wants to undermine the protest and make it look like it's violent. But you know, we have witnessed that this has been a very peaceful protest for the now more than 90 days and nearing 100 days.
So as of now, the protests have died down. These were visuals from yesterday as the protesters reach outside the president's residence. The political turmoil and uncertainty still continues. On that note, we're slipping into a short break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us.